Hey guys, so I've got the Extra 330 LT by 3D Hobby Shop here, and I'm going to show you a couple quick repair tips on repairing this airplane. It did a bunch of big loops with a radio lockout and crashed upside down against some really thick weeds and did a bunch of damage to the a few structural areas on the airplane. Nothing too bad, but did hit full throttle. But it landed very level with the ground and did not plow in. So just some stuff from the weeds ripping the wings back that it did damage on. But I'm going to show you a couple quick tips that are going to help you hopefully repair your airplane if you have this situation. So as I had, my not as bad damaged area, as you can see, it just basically ripped the wings back pretty aggressively. So mine was upside down on this airplane, and so as you see down here, these triangular sections. Now if you want to remove these, this is all the way to the front from the structural areas, from here where the wing tube is, where this 3/4 inch wing tube, carbon wing tube, is all the way to the front, all the way up here. So it goes the whole way, and that's not a fun thing to have to pull out and undo. I mean, that's a lot of work. You're gonna have to pull off everything. I mean, it's the whole motor box. So what I did is I went and took some dimensions and engineered my own panels that are going to glue up against this, and as well I'm going to drill some holes, a few holes with some locking bolts. So not only will it be glued, but it will also be bolted for structural reasons. So cleaned up the areas. As you can see a couple wood chips missing, but it is all how it needs to be in an alignment. So these are friction fit right now, just so I can work with it, but those will get glued. And what I did is just like this area that's damaged, but this other side was much worse. I started by removing all of the bad wood off this panel, cutting around it, and as you see from in here, you'll be able to see those areas, as you can see. So I cut through, and I used acetone on paper towels to get all of the those tabs completely freed from the bad areas, so I could still have tabs where I could put my new panel up against. And then once you cut out the bad areas off on the side, because if you've got side panel damage, then what you're going to do is, what I did is, you're going to see there's a lip kind of down here where this carbon rod runs. Now there's a thin piece of wood behind it, or in front of it, that mounts up against this 1/16 inch panel that separates in between there. It's a really thin piece of balsa. And then you have this. You just want to cut this. I accidentally cut on this learning. I cut out the other piece all the way up to the carbon. You just want to cut this 1/16 out, and until you have a little lip, so you can glue the next panel up against that lip for support. And up against here, there's going to be a black line that runs along the fuselage where they mate. This wood down here, which is part of the belly, to the wood that's right here. So you want to just cut just until, and trim out, so you have this lip. The next thing I did was, as you see, the masking tape. And the reason I did the masking tape is you want to get a panel that's going to fit in there pretty well. And whether you're going to cut this out by hand or with a laser cutter, I'm probably going to laser cut this out. Or you could bandsaw this with a small bandsaw or whatnot. I put the masking tape over. Not only does that allow me to know that the wing tubes, because they are angled, the fuselage angles in towards the tail, so those are not square cut, those are angle cut, so that lets me know that those are sitting how they need to. those wing tubes, as well as just be able to get the right like panel, how the panel is going to sit. So then what I did is I took a phone, a light, and I put it up against the backside. Now I can't use this phone because it doesn't have the availability of using flashlight like I normally do, and this one doesn't. This phone doesn't have a flashlight, but using the screen, you can clearly see if I put a phone up against, I can see through this blue masking tape that you can get at any hardware store, pretty much for painting type purposes, and it's going to project light through. Well, that light, I can see all the square edges and all the different holes and stuff when I've got a flashlight coming through. And then I took a pen, which this pen in specific is probably the best pen I recommend for doing this. I don't know why it is, but you search up this pen right here. It is extremely good for doing this really precision work without poking through the tape. I mean, you want to go right up against exactly where where those lines are, and then you want to cut a little bit on the outside, just barely, just so you can always shave off and sand that to fit perfectly, and then glue that in place. But as you see, I traced that all out, and that's going to be my my side panel to the airplane. Let me remove my phone out of there. So that's the side panel, as you can see. And I drew where I'm going to make my tabs on the panel, so that I can put my panel up against the up there, and it's going to sit nicely in there, in between those slots behind there, as you can see. And then I also drew the hole, the 3/4 inch hole for the wing tube. And these are just reference. I'm not going to cut this out. I'm only going to be making this piece right here out of 1/16 inch balsa. And then I'm going to put a new, to replace what I accidentally cut out, I'm going to put the 1/32 strip back in here and glue the panel up against that. And then put some structural areas just around here that are going to glue on top around that hole. Other than that, then that will be what I will do for this side, and then I will repeat that on the side that's not as badly damaged. Redo that side, cut out those bad areas, and then I should be all set, and then the airplane should be good. I also made a template using permanent marker. I highly don't recommend doing this because it doesn't give you a precision line to do. Using that really good pen, ballpoint pen, works great if you can find one of those exact type of pens, or a good ink pen that you can lightly move across while not having the pen poke through. And that also, I tried to rub that pen off with acetone and alcohol. It doesn't come off of the tape, so that was really useful, that it doesn't rub and smear. So that's that panel, and that's how I recommend doing that. And I will post the next video on the panel all cut, and the installation and how to properly structurally secure this. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below. Thanks for watching, and have fun flying.